Karla, what's up?
What's up, Chris? How you
We're
doing?
back from we're back from Providence.
We are.
Um,
We are.
Pretty exhausting week in the best way, right?
For sure. For sure. Yes. It was great to
Uh,
have all of our staff together for the first time. Well, no. We saw each other at Big Bang, but you know what I'm saying. To
yeah, but the
work
way
on
that
this.
I've been sort of framing it is like it's the first interrupted time because when we're at Big Bang, like we can't really hang out
True.
very much, so a very nice bonding opportunity for us.
Yeah. Really.
Um, I we actually have a very special guest today. Um,
Really? Who? Tell me.
well,
I'm so excited.
this powerful, strong woman, Karla Cruz Godoy, also known as Contestant on Survivor Season 43. Should I keep going? Debuting this Wednesday, 8,
At
8,
8
8
p.m.
o'clock
Eastern
Eastern.
on CBS and
Um,
Paramount Plus.
I mean,
Yes.
keep it going.
Let's
Karla,
welcome Karla to the show. Woo! Just kidding.
Karla, you're actually a returning guest. I don't know if you remember we did an episode where you were, I think, in Doha?
I was in Doha, yes, for my
Quite the world
fellowship.
traveler. And where are you
Listen.
here in this picture?
In this picture, I was in Fiji.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So let's not, we're being a little bit silly, but very excited that you've returned from Survivor and it debuts this week.
Yes.
If you're watching this week, this Wednesday, if you're watching it sometime later, you might have missed a couple episodes, so catch up and catch Karla's season. We wanted to talk today a little bit about some of the elements of Survivor and how it dovetails nicely with Big Picture's work.
Perfect.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Big picture, we really talk about young people pursuing their passions. You are a graduate of a Big Picture school. Has being on Survivor been a passion of yours?
Yeah, I mean, duh. Like, well, okay. So leaving a Big Picture school, I wouldn't say Survivor was my passion because I learned about Survivor when I was an undergrad at UC Berkeley. But I think the traits of being a BPL alum and kind of being a go-getter, finding internships, taking college classes at such a young age, and really following your passions and interests right? But really instilled in me this sense of confidence that I don't know a lot of that for me personally, that I was like, I can do this, right? Like if I've done everything I did at a Met school or at the San Diego Met, at a Big Picture learning school, what's going to stop me from applying to Survivor? But I think being competitive and obviously like I was valedictorian at the San Diego Met kind of shows that level of competition. But I've just always been competitive in life. And because of a Big Picture school that I learned so young, if you have a passion, if you have an interest, follow it. My interest from 2015 to now was Survivor. I watched it a lot with Lisa, with all my friends. So why not pursue that? I think that was what I got out of it.
I'm also a Survivor fan, though I've not applied. So congratulations to you for taking the additional step required to actually get on the show. But as a fan, and I think particularly in the last several seasons, there's really this element of like representation and why representation matters. Almost like Survivor's a microcosm of the real world, right? So you speak about your thoughts on representation.
Yeah, so I was super tired of literally watching the same people get cast on the show. In my mind, they were super thin. For the most part, white folks, right? That I was like, I do not, and straight. I was like, I don't see myself being represented on this TV show that I love so much. And I've, binged and given like a lot of my time to. How do I change this? So for me, I went in and I was really scared to apply because I was like, first of all, I'm a queer woman of color. I grew up fairly poor. I'm plus size. Like, no, they're going to say no to me. But there's just this confidence in like, this is who I am, right? This is my lived experience. This is how I present myself to the world. And if I find an issue, not an issue, but if there's a problem to be solved, like I'm not going to wait for someone else to be that representation I've been waiting to see, right? Like why not be that person that can then be a representation for someone else to be like, Karla went on the show. Like I could go on the show too. But I'm not going to lie. It was scary. It was scary applying and it's still scary. People are going to see this badass woman who's very confident in herself, own the fact that she's queer, that she's plus size, that she grew up in the hood. And that might scare people, and that's okay. But it's who I
Well,
am.
I will say, having watched the show, there are a lot of contestants who feel like they have to put on an alternate identity, and all the
Yeah.
things that you just described yourself as a contestant, I know to be true of you, Karla, as a person as well. So, major props to that.
Thank you.
I was watching Survivor several seasons ago, and I think for like half of the season there was this contestant, and I was like, that guy looks so familiar to me. Like, why do I know him? And then realize it's Ron Clark, founder of the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta. And I was like, here's a dude from our work who's like creating innovative schools. And I, for a hot minute, I was like super proud that someone who I know does this work outside of Survivor is represented on the show. A lot of times I see like program managers and marketing executives. I mean, I think it's great that you're on the show, but I also think it's great that you're an educator and you're on the show, Karla. So what about like representation of educators as like a profession?
Yeah, it's funny. It's because I would also, especially when I was a teacher, I would be like, oh my God, another teacher. How great. I think educators or people who are in education on the show are, some of the most adaptable people that you can have, or contestants, because, when I was a teacher, like I had to really cater to all students. Obviously, it's one student at a time. But what if that one student, right? It's really hard to bond with them. Or what if that one student like is really not feeling you at all as a teacher? You still have to try. And in a way, I think that for me, being an educator and having education in my background has, I think it's one of those skills that I think I'm really proud of, because I can adapt and I can build relationships and work with people across differences. But there's just something about education, right? You care about everyone. You go into education because it's a selfless career, and you're doing it for a good reason, whatever the reason may be. And I think Survivor is just, I love it. It's like a classroom to me. Honestly, it felt like a classroom, right? Like, what are these people's goals? What's my goal? How can I ensure that like we do well together? So actually, that's such a good imagery. Survivor
It
is a
is.
class.
And you also teed me up very nicely for the next question, which is that, a core element of big picture is getting out of the classroom, like
Ooh.
learning in the real world. Right. And I have to imagine you must have learned some things on Survivor, like things you're like different than you might have expected. Like what do you feel like you learned as part of Survivor that just isn't part of the core curriculum?
Ooh, yes. Okay, good question.
Thank you.
So Survivor has definitely been my favorite leaving to learn. I left the country. But I think the just it's literally the one thing is I believed in myself. Like there is nothing in any textbook, in any classroom, in any university that can teach you what it means to really believe in yourself as a person, that you can accomplish great things, that you are a good person, and that you're just badass. Like, I don't know, my confidence, wow, just being out there, beautiful. It's something that I will always cherish, is that I've learned so much about myself that is life-changing.
All right, let's get away from the hokiness for a minute. Like Survivor in the end is Survivor, right? And I
Yeah.
don't know how much you can talk about this, but Karla, I mean, down in the dirt, like literally covered in
Yeah.
mud. Like
Yeah, I ruined my beautiful blouse there.
this just makes me super excited to watch the show tomorrow, to watch the show this season. And if I don't say it enough, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. See, okay, what I have to say. Who is that? I don't know her, right? Because when am I ever in mud? Never. Camping, I like to this this shot, it's like I'm seeing someone new. But it is inspirational. But it's hard. It is hard. That looks tough though. That's a really tough picture. Yeah, I think this. Yeah. So I'll leave
Does it
at
feel out of body? Does it feel like that? Do you remember that
Yeah.
as an experience, or does it feel like sort of transcendent at this point?
It's interesting because it's like two different worlds are pulling at me right now. And you probably know this because work is work, right? We always have work. So we're coming up on a busy season of work. And so there's part of me that I'm like, all right, great, I'm answering these emails. And then part of it, I'm like, wait, I was out there. I was on the show that is going to premiere tomorrow. And so I get bursts of like adrenaline that rush through my body as I'm gearing up for a Zoom call, you know? So it's like so weird. But it definitely feels out of body. It doesn't feel real. Wow. It's going to be even more of a shock when I see myself on television. I already know it. I'm probably going to cry.
No crying. There's no crying in Survivor. Actually, there's like literally only crying in Survivor. That's not true. I'm really excited for the season. I'm really excited for you. I don't know what else to say. This is a very surreal episode of the Cup of Joy Cafe.
Right? Oh, what
I'm glad
an
to have had you
honor
here today as our guest, our honored guest. But I look forward to watching the show.
Thank you.
Any final words of inspiration, Karla?
If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And I mean, I'm just ready for y'all to watch. That's it. Like no other inspiration. I think you'll get inspiration from watching the TV and watching the show and just hearing everyone's story. So like get out there, learn about people. Yeah. And is this where should I close it off?
I mean, I thought you were going to say make it a great day. That's kind of
that I figured too. Okay. So with that, I hope you make it a great day or not. The choice is yours, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thanks, everyone.